Hey, welcome to another edition of Spotlight On. Well, another somewhat nice weekend. You know, we had Saturday was beautiful. We were up at up the flea markets and stuff, and we were doing a couple of car shows up over at Marcus Dairy and things. But Sunday was iffy. You know, we didn't know what the weather was going to actually be like. We were up at Warren Woods. There was quite a few cars. They had maybe about a little over 100 cars. There was more, you know, we were just contemplating to see what the weather was going to be like for the whole day, but it turned out, you know, to be a halfway decent day anyway. But, you know, unfortunately you can't plan on the weather. Last Friday, the Rotary Club here in Danbury invited me up because they had the C-SPAN bus come in. I'm going to be showing some video of that tonight on the show. There was a good turnout for people to come up to see the bus. They gave us a lot of information on it, you know, what they do, you know, and you know, the bus is huge. You know, it's it actually has its own control room inside. It has, you know, it's really a interesting piece of hardware, and they did a presentation on it and everything, so I'll be showing some of that tonight as well. We got a lot of things coming up this week. We got Cruising the Green on up in New Milford on Sunday, which should be a very interesting show. They're supposed to be having the Batmobile, Starsky and Hutch car, and many other cars as well. Last year we had almost about 500 cars, and there'll be vendors, myself included. We'll also be filming up there as well, so you know, stop by, say hello. We'll also be having some. I don't know if off the top of my head as of right now, but they were talking about some celebrities showing up, but that's all tentative. So, like I said, you know, you have to show up and see who's actually there. The show's supposed to start around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but till about 8. But I would say get there earlier because parking probably will be at a minimum, because they're going to start closing the green down around 1 o'clock. So, you know, it's going to be, be a really good day. But just like I always say, be there early. And of course, we hope the weather will cooperate. So, starting this Friday at Uncle Al's is going to be Trophy Week, starting 10 days of trophies. It'll start at Uncle Al's and it'll go straight through until the following week. So there'll be a lot of, so you know, if you're into, for trophies, you can come almost every week to a different show. Just check out the Connecticut Cruise News, or go ConnecticutCruiseNews.com. They'll give you all the information on that. Coming up September 6th is the Dover Drag Strip Reunion. Smoke and Grover do this every year, so please come out to see that. The 19th will be the Danbury Train Museum will be having their car, train, and it's like a gathering. So please come out for that. I believe that runs from around like 11 to like about 6. Also coming up is on the 20th of September is Southbury training show, the car show up there. So, you know, like I said, that's more stuff coming up. We're still doing concerts on the green. There's every Friday and Saturday night there's a different act. Just go to the City Center Danbury and look all that up. Let's see what else is coming up. We've been doing We've just been busy. Just been doing a lot of different shows the last few weeks. You know, it's just been the weather's been, you know, like I said, the weather's been so-so. So just waiting to see what happens. We have our Danbury Westerners finished the season a couple weeks ago. We finished 5th place. We were 19-22. We had the one playoff game against Holyoke. The Westerners lost 6-5. So, you know, another season is come and gone. In 11 months, we'll do it again. So, you know, it's, we will be at, Danbury Westerners will be at the Taste of Danbury, which will be coming up in a couple weeks. So come on out and say hello to us there. We're just been, you know, like I said, we've been busy all season long with different types of things. I do have to mention a few people. Al Robinson for Hat City Blog. He's been putting all my stuff up, all the shows and stuff up there. So you can, you know, which I thank Al very much for doing that. Candy Roswell and Dave King for all their help with helping to get this show running every week. Joe Pisanelli with all getting helping me with doing the camera work, you know, in and out of the field, and you know, it helps out. You know, also mention Marty Heisner because I help out his show on Thursday nights. His show is every Thursday night live at 9 o'clock. So please watch Marty's show. You know, we're always on with that. So you know, most of the time. So please keep tuned to that. Let's see what else is coming up. I got a lot of different shows coming up. Hopefully after the Biketoberfest will be coming up soon. We're going to do a few other events that are coming up. As soon as I can get more information on them, I'll pass it along. And speaking of events, if you have an event coming up, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can call me at 203-417-7929 or 203-748-5456. You can also reach me at rbra@snetnet or rbra@gmail.com. You can also look me up at facebook.com. You can look me up MySpace/Spotlight on 1966. I know the blog has not been updated that much, but I try to keep it going. Some days it's good, some days it's not. But as always, you know, that's where you can usually look us up as far as that's concerned. But with that being said, we're going to get into the show, and you know, we'll see you again probably next week, hopefully, depending on how things are going. We should have some stuff. We should have some video from Cruising the Green for probably next week, and we probably will have some other, you know, whatever was going on, you know, whatever else going on. I'm going up to Lime Rock on Friday, so I might have a little bit of video from some of the drivers from up there. So we should have a good day. So with that being said, we'll get into the show right now, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.
Anyway, thank you so much for having us. We've been around to a lot of Rotaries throughout the country. We always feel incredibly welcome. C-SPAN is offered as a public service, hopefully to let people give you an inside glimpse of what's going on in Washington, D.C., allow you to make up your own minds about issues. Doing the great public service work that you're doing, it seems like a wonderful fit that we come to these things. So I'm going to talk a little bit about who we are, what we do, a little bit of our history. If you have any questions whatsoever, just let me know. But C-SPAN is our 30th year in existence. We're a public affairs network. We carry 3 networks: C-SPAN, C-SPAN 2, and C-SPAN 3. In addition to a host of websites and Sirius and XM Radio, we're also on there. And if you're in the Washington, D.C. area, you can catch us on 90.1 and 91.1. And I'll go through exactly what we are, but we are public affairs programming. So some of you may watch, some of you may not. But what we offer is gavel-to-gavel coverage of politics. So If it's the House and the Senate, from when they begin to when they end, we're going to be there with cameras broadcasting what's going on. Another thing we don't do is edit. So whether it's a farm subsidies bill and it's dragging on, or it's something really compelling, we're going to show you the entire story. That's designed to let you as viewers come to your own conclusions, watch it, determine for yourself what's the important part, what's what you find the most intriguing, and we won't be offering you our commentary over that as well. So we're not going to tell you what we think about it. We won't be breaking it down, analyzing it for you. Another thing, we don't have any commercials, so and I'll get into why we don't have commercials in just a second, but everything is broadcast long form. Another thing, no ratings. So we don't exactly know how many people are watching at any given time. We assume it's somewhere between 95 million and 1. So the big misconception is C-SPAN's a government channel, that we broadcast the government. It's not quite right. We broadcast government a lot of the time, but in general, it's a public affairs umbrella that everything falls under. So that means we don't receive any tax dollars. It's no government funds. There's no government mandate that C-SPAN needs to be carried on your local Comcast or DirecTV or any other channel. We're funded entirely through monthly subscriber fees. C-SPAN's a product of the cable television industry. So we work with Comcast here. We work with affiliates all over the country. It's really the great public service of the cable television industry. They think it's important that people should know what's going on, and luckily they're able to give us money to help us fulfill that mission. So it's about $1.50 out of every subscriber's monthly bill comes back to us. Now, it's add that by $95 million, and while it's not a ton in the grand scheme of things, it's enough to pay our bills and fund satellites and do other things. This is basically just a progression of the cable industry and its as a whole. So you can see in 1979 when we started, there was very, very few people that actually could see any cable. We started before CNN and MTV and all the other big channels. But now most people, if you have cable television, you're going to have C-SPAN and probably C-SPAN 2 and less likely, but hopefully C-SPAN 3. So what do we provide access to? It's C-SPAN, as I mentioned, it's the House floor. When they're in session, we're never going to pull away from that, so we're broadcasting that live in its entirety whenever they are in session. On C-SPAN 2, same thing, only it happens to be with the Senate. This was started in 1986. We got access to the House in 79 using a system that they already had in place. C-SPAN 2 is basically a continuation of that with the Senate. Just had to get approval from that. We also have executive coverage, so if the president's giving a press conference or Michelle Obama's touring a school or something, C-SPAN oftentimes will have a camera there and just show you what's going on, or at least show you the entire speech. We also have press conferences, so the daily press briefings by Robert Gibbs will cover that. C-SPAN 3 is another thing, so we'll have a lot of subcommittee hearings. This is, if the House and the Senate are in session, we never are going to break away to cover something that we find more compelling, or that other people would, I guess, find more compelling. No matter how big the story, the Sotomayor confirmation hearings, for instance, it's a big, huge deal, but in our mission, we want people to have access to the House and the Senate. So C-SPAN 3 is the place where we can put that. In addition to that, we want people to have access to elected officials, politicians, journalists via the Washington Journal. So this is a morning call-in program that we have where, and I was talking to those of you who said you'd seen it before, and other of you may watch it as well. We have the capitals in the background, and you can call in the Democrats, Republicans, and others, or independent line, and have a direct conduit to your elected officials. Ask any question you want. We're not going to screen these calls. You can really get to the heart of any matter that associates. The Washington Journal, as I mentioned, at 7 to 10 a.m. Every morning. And calls, current events, politicians, journalists, all those. Campaign 2008, well, it's obviously long over, not necessarily long over, but it was a big, huge deal for us. We cover it a little bit differently than most networks. Again, as I mentioned, it's all long-form coverage. So last year, I was in New England, in New Hampshire, and we'd go to a house party that somebody was having for Rudy Giuliani, or John McCain hosting a small gathering in a house. And C-SPAN would go there and actually film the entire thing. It really gives you an intimate setting, and we try to place you inside the room with that person. What's it like to feel if you were being solicited for money, or Rudy Giuliani's asking you for a campaign contribution or something, explaining why he was the best candidate. We also do a lot of the candidates that other folks may not. So Ralph Nader, we would carry speeches by him and other lesser-known candidates. Administration coverage, confirmation hearings, all of the other things that the administration is moving towards. Book TV is one of my favorite programs and a lot of folks' favorites, but 48 hours every weekend on C-SPAN 2 of nonfiction authors talking, discussing their books. So we'll have book signings, maybe an author giving a reading at a local bookstore, Barnes & Noble. We'll go to book festivals, so there's the Miami Book Festival is a big one, or the LA Times Festival of Books, Harlem Book Festival. We'll go there and basically just give you a glimpse into what's happening there, or also what put you in the audience if you can't make it, maybe make it to the reading. We'll also do interviews, so in-depth, where we sit down with one author for 3 hours and really get to the meat of their body of work. So people can call in, ask live questions to the guests. Most of the time it's a big name, maybe Tom Wolfe or Bob Woodward. It could be anything. There's also Encore Book Notes. Book Notes ran for years and years, hosted by our founder and president, Brian Lamb. And he'd sit down with one author for 1 hour and talk about one book. And a lot of great questions, a lot of great discussions that come out of it. C-SPAN 3, I mentioned, when the House and the Senate when they're in session, C-SPAN 3 is going to carry backup and things like that. It also has a lot of historical programs too, so this is kind of neat. And more than welcome to show you some of these afterwards on the bus. But during the election, they had a lot of old campaign ads that would play, or if something is going on in current events, they'll replay something that gives some historical context for it. For instance, the Republican National Convention, they'll replay one from 1988, or key speeches or something. There's also, it's not just strictly, your local congressman or senator that's going to be featured on C-SPAN. You get a wide variety of perspectives and opinions, and people that are passionate about politics in one way or the other. So, the big thing is, why you share? They're always looking at that. Cher she actually watched the Washington Journal a lot, and she's in California, so she's waking up at 4:30 in the morning to call into the program. And eventually we had her on. She was a supporter and advocate for the program Operation Helmet, which gives helmets and other supplies to troops over in Afghanistan and Iraq. So we had her on the Washington Journal where people could call and ask questions. Bono, Bill Gates, Clarence Thomas. I watched something with Fran Drescher, who's a cancer advocate, on a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And different people are passionate about politics. So C-SPAN likes to feature that. Our website is going to carry everything that we have on the network currently, and then in addition to plenty of historical programs. So there's a ton of websites that we have, both giving you current events, headlines about what's going on in Capitol Hill and elsewhere. Programming can be really tough to pinpoint and what's going to be on. It's not like tuning into America's next top model or something. I don't know if that show's on anymore, but you can find out what the tentative schedule is here. And also there's a ton of educational resources. And this kind of gets into what we do we do here and with the big bus that you saw driving by. But there's a lot of, we're basically the education arm of the network, education and PR and other things. But we go to a lot of schools talking to teachers and students about media and journalism and critical viewing skills when watching the news. talk to teachers about using some of our free resources called the C-SPAN Classroom. And we also bring teacher fellows back to Washington, D.C. to help us craft a program, C-SPAN Classroom, which I'll just talk about very briefly in a moment. We also, when we're talking to students, again, so talking to them about how we cover things, as we talk here today, again, we don't have ratings, so if everybody runs home and watches C-SPAN, great, but it doesn't affect our bottom line. So it's really, we're offered as one additional resource to help you come to your own conclusions about what's going on in the world. But C-SPAN Classroom, if any of you are teachers or know of teachers, it's a program that offers lesson plans and weekly clips, taking current events in the news, breaks it down to 3, 4, 7-minute segments, and will help direct the students' attention and maybe the legislative branch or the executive branch or something. You can download the video. It's completely free, like most things in C-SPAN, copyright free, and again, a lot of teachers find a lot of use for it. So. The video library, this is a really cool thing that we have been compiling back in West Lafayette, Indiana, where our archives are based at Purdue University. But basically everything that's on C-SPAN, as I mentioned, is available online, so you can find it, download it, and use it for free. We also have eventually everything going back to 1987 you'll be able to find and search, and it'll be completely free, and you can pull it up. Not only can you pull it up, but let's say you don't want a full 3-hour speech, you can create a little clip for yourself. So a 5-minute segment to use in the blog or email or to share with friends. And it's a way to kind of customize your experience with C-SPAN. We also are active in new media, so Facebook and Twitter, we do updates. We have a bunch of different accounts, both with us and what's going on, what we're covering in DC. In addition to putting a lot of things on YouTube. So if you're ever interested in just short clips, YouTube's a good place to get it as well. And the last thing, the big bus, which everybody's, of course, welcome to tour afterwards. We'll be here. It's our mobile television studio production vehicle. So this week we start at Newburgh, New York, and we'll eventually end in Hartford. So we'll do a stop later on in Wilton today, and then in New Haven tomorrow. But we do stops at high schools and colleges and libraries and all sorts of other places, talking to students and teachers and citizens about about what we do as a network, and also just what their perspective is on politics and government and that type of thing. We also shoot interviews on board too. So yesterday they actually used it for they produced a segment on the bus, and we may do interviews with students or have them on the Washington Journal program. So. It's a cool thing if you get a chance. Hop out and check it out. There's also some special programs that C-SPAN has offered. Am I okay with time? Or should I wrap it up? Okay. I'm going to skip over the special program. There's a couple minutes. But the new one that's coming out is called The Supreme Court. It's a documentary on basically the history and significance of the Supreme Court. It'll be airing in is it October 3rd?
October 4th.
October 4th, yeah. So, encourage you to check it out. It looks beautiful, and we're offered unprecedented access to different places and figures. So, Justice Roberts, all the Supreme Court justices, including Sotomayor. So, that's where from that. But and most of this stuff is going to be on VOD too. So, if you have Comcast VOD, you'll be able to access that most later. Yeah, and that's C-SPAN, so 30 years.
Well, one of the things that we do learn on the road is that everybody has their own opinion about politics. And one of the great things about this country is that you have the right to say it, to express your opinion. So we do talk to a lot of people who are really passionate about what's going on right now, and that's music to our ears. We're excited from all sides, and that's why we're also dedicated to neutrality, because we think there should be a place where you can go and watch and get the facts, what's actually happening, without worrying about any political slant or bias.
think that's smart because people like Ira may be duking it out because of that comment. I'll say the same thing, push with the Constitution too, you know?
And you know, and that's the thing. It's good to have a well-rounded view, so you can see it as it's actually happening. So it's great. Great organization to work for. So yeah, there you go. No, well, we don't have. That's the thing. We're not hosts, so you wouldn't see us on TV. The only time is if there's a program and we're in the background. So
that's like on TV right there.
Well, yeah, there you go. But as I'm trying to get out of the shot,
And we'll occasionally shoot interviews with local nonfiction authors that we arrange beforehand for Book TV. And that would either be done here on the bus or something with that site.
or with him. Do you want me to take a picture of you with him? Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, I did. With the students that you bring on board, how are they receptive to it? And are they getting more into politics?
Sometimes
how
they're
are
really receptive, and sometimes they're just as bored as you can imagine.
Yeah.
So I know that when we go to a school, we'll bring social, say bring your social studies students or television, film, media kids. And yeah, I mean, most of the time I think that they're interested, and it really all depends on if they can connect with something. If they aren't interested in politics, even in the slightest least, maybe we can at least get them interested in technology, or try to find a way in. But yeah, I found like last year, especially during the election, there was a lot of interest when the students actually knew the candidates. It waned a little bit after that, but I find it.
Do you actually teach them how to, because you mentioned something in the slideshow about, I forgot, you didn't go on
do you
in
mean
depth
like media literacy and critical viewing skills?
Yes, thanks.
We do, and actually that is what I find the students most receptive to.
Yeah.
Because we have this thing, and it's funny because each representative from C-SPAN has their own style, but one of